It just really just helped me to be, disciplined, resilient, and stick on to my faith, and just knowing that's something that we're going to battle through, in the course of the season in basketball games where things are not going your way and having bad games. Like, how do you respond to it, and like how do you grow and develop yourself through it? And I think that's just a testimony of myself and just my faith and my family, the people that supported me, who've been around my circle, just to help me become the young man, the player that I am today. So it was just something just to help myself stay grounded, see the bigger picture, and just know that everything happens for a reason.
What made you want to transfer to NC State? Because obviously coming from Carolina, being a rival school, that's a big decision and probably took a lot of people by surprise. What were the talks with Will Wade like to convince you that NC State was the right place?
Yeah, I mean, it's just how authentic and transparent he is, as a coach. Like, he's not the type of person that just wants to say things that we want to hear and, doesn't really focus on the main things, the NIL, playing time, all that stuff. But he's going to keep it real with you, and that's something that I really admire about him, and something that he sees in me just for me to max out my potential. Because I feel like that, we both haven't, been able to do that. He's seen that I haven't been able to do that in my previous stops, and that's something that he's willing to do for me, and for me just to be able to do whatever I can to impact this program.
Something you've been able to learn throughout your college career, just from stop to stop.
Just say the way I was able to adapt to the different situations. It wasn't easy. It was definitely stressful. Just keeping it real, it was something that I was very frustrated about because I wanted to be in a place where I can grow, develop, myself and relationships, and just be able to be in a stable environment, because that's something I've always had growing up. And so something like this, and the situation was very different for me, and so I also want to make sure that I was able to not lose sight of that and not to lose myself in it as well, and just to be able to adapt to the new circumstances, new situations, cultures, environment, people, and just respond the right way and get something from it.
Is there something you've done that you've kind of been able to use in adapting, kind of, something you've kind of found that works when you kind of join a new program, try to get to know guys, campus, whatever it is, to kind of just get adjusted?
Yeah, I mean, just opening up and just stepping outside my comfort zone, not in a way of just me just being like an introvert, me being like a quiet person, a quiet leader, but just being more vocal, just putting myself out there to learn about my teammates, my coaches, and for them to learn more about me. To know that I have the maturity and the experience to be able to help this team out. And, I just really just appreciate them for giving me the opportunity to play for the program and just to be on their roster among the other guys. And so that's something that I just want to be valued.
Does this move easier with it just being 20, 30-mile drive rather than moving across the country or to a different state?
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely has been easy. Just up down the road. A lot of things to move, but it was definitely easier than moving state to state.
People have definitely criticized the move from the other side, saying they feel like you took the easy way out, blah, blah, blah. Is that something that you hear and have to work through, or are you just not even aware?
No, I'm not even aware. I think that's something that I worked on myself, and I think, my people around me, just to block out the negativity and just also give me the perspective of nobody's in your shoes right now. Nobody knows what you're going through, only yourself, and, and that's something that you can't really, keep expressing to people whether they understand or not. It's your life, it's what you want to do, and that's something that's going to make me happy, and something that's going to benefit me, my family, and my future. So I always put that first and always keep that focus.
Coach Wade talked about, obviously what he wants to accomplish with this program, and talked about lofty goals, certainly realistic goals. And then he also today was talking about just the experience level that his roster has, even if they've come from a different school. Does that sort of breed confidence in you all in the preseason?
Yeah, I believe it does. Just to be able to have guys who are experienced, who are mature, and who has been in this position before, just to bring guys along, just to help out the guys who have transferred, who hasn't been in this situation, or guys coming from high school, just be able to kind of lean on them, to kind of take them under our wings, and just to help us be the most consistent team. Because I think the most consistent team wins, and get the better result. And so that's something he emphasizes every day.
Chemistry is something you build throughout the season. How is it early on right now?
It's really tight. I think that we connected really well just based on our personalities. I think it's really diverse, and just guys who are just really outgoing versus really quiet. We kind of just bring them along with us, going out, off the court and just hanging out, and also just the team bonding and building activities that, Coach Wade and his staff, structured for us. And I think that's something that's really helped us, be well connected even off the court.
What's your favorite thing about this team right now? Why is it special?
I'll say the depth and how connected we are. So I think team chemistry is really big, and I think this is the most connected team I've ever been on. Not to discredit any other programs that we wasn't connected, but it's just the way that we were able to gel and bond, from the first week that we all got here, and just bringing out, the difference in us and be able to accept them and, to be welcome and to feel like a sense of belonging from everybody was really, really huge for us. And I just think that's really something that really can help us get us far. And also we have depth with the guys who are really talented and gifted, who can really bring a lot of things to the table to help us win and impact this program.
You played in the Lenovo Center before last year, obviously. Now talk to me, now it's sold out for the season opener, home opener. What do you expect that kind of atmosphere in that environment to be like?
To be loud and electric. I'm expecting that everybody has very high expectations and we want to meet that and over-exceed it.
Does that make you feel pressure at all?
No, it makes me feel more excited.
Yeah.
I think I've been in this position before, so just for me to feel pressure is something that I want to take pride in. I want to embrace it. And so if I ever feel any pressure like that, I want to make sure I embrace it, but I also want to enjoy it.
You also played in the ACC before at Notre Dame before you went to North Carolina. How did that kind of, playing at those two schools first kind of help with making this transition, already playing against the team you've played for in the past? How much do you think that helped kind of going into this season before? Obviously it's at the end of the year, but just playing against the team you played for in Carolina too.
Yeah, just knowing what to expect, out of the conference and out of our opponents. Obviously there's probably been some changes with players and coaches, but I think just seeing the bigger picture of knowing that it's still a team that I'm very familiar with, played with or against, and so just to be able to just use that to my advantage and to the benefit of the team.
Do you still talk to some of those guys, just kind of even not even from Carolina, but also your previous stuff as well?
Yeah, I do. I still keep in touch with most of them.
How would you compare the four coaches you played for?
How would I compare?
Four different guys.
All different, very different coaching styles. I think they all have similar goals and culture of just being like wanting to win and want to put guys in great positions just to be successful. And I think if I had to break it down, I think that Mike Bray was just a very noble person and also noble coach. And just knowing that he just constructs things in a very, very well manner and just knows what he's doing and to be able to also be able to bond with a lot of other guys. Jerry Stackhouse, very knowledgeable coach. Being able to have so much experience and so much knowledge of the game, playing in NBA, coaching at the NBA level. And things like that, to be able to bring that to the college level and be able to be so close to them was something that's really, really really special to me. And Hubert David, he's very passionate. He shows a lot of emotions, and he wants guys to feel that and be able to know that, just enjoy every moment. Because the time that he played, he felt like he just passed by and he felt like he should have enjoyed it more. So he emphasized that to us. And Will Wade, like I said earlier, he's just very authentic, transparent, and he's a man of his words, and also he's very bold. So, so we just get a lot out of all those coaches that I've been able to, be able to play for, and I'm just really grateful, really blessed.
The connectivity when you have so many new players, and you're on a new staff with a new staff as well. Just describe it. How well are y'all connecting, and what is kind of everybody's being thrown in a new situation?
Yeah, I believe that we all gel and bond together, on and off the court. I think it just really started with the first week of us coming to the summer, just knowing that we all have different personalities, we all come from different backgrounds, and just knowing that we can all help the team win it. But we don't know that unless we get to know one another and we can really trust who we're playing for. And so we just want to have that mindset, just knowing that we're playing something bigger than ourselves, the guy next to us, and we really want to become like brothers instead of like strangers or acquaintances when it comes to this, because I believe that once we're brothers, we play for something that we really care for and really matters, then it's something good is going to happen.
The infrastructure at NC State, the facilities, the fan base, the students, just describe that. What have you discovered in that part of your journey?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's immeasurable. Just the love and support that I get from the community, from NC State, and just knowing that it's a great fan base, and just knowing that they're very, very excited, about this basketball season. And so that's something that I'm looking forward to extremely, and I just can't wait.
Brandon, apologies for already been asked, but not even just last year, you've obviously played for multiple head coaches at this level before. What makes Will unique? What do you appreciate most of that?
I appreciate how authentic and transparent he is. He's not the type of coach that's going to say what you want to hear, you know, just throw some things out that's gonna make it sound good, and then once you know things come real, then it's like completely opposite, and you thrown out of blindness. And so I just think that he's just being really straight up with you, you know, from the front, and that's something I really admire. That really stuck out to me.
What are some of the tough things he's told you that maybe you didn't want to hear but needed to?
It wasn't really tough. Like he admired me great as a character and as a player. You know, he said some really good things about me, and I really appreciate him for that. And he just really wants me to be more of a local leader. You know, he knows I'm a guy that kind of leads by example, lead by my actions and things. That my voice carries a lot, you know, to the guys. It really can be helpful, and so that's something he wants me to do, and that's something I signed up for.
What did you kind of take away from Coach Bray and his, I'm guessing, very funny personality? And then I'm sure the NBA background of Jerry Stackhouse was a different experience. What was it like to learn from different personalities, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it just says a lot about like the coaching styles and how they were able to be successful on their own. You know, whether it's very strict, whether it's very loose, and like Mike Bray, like he was a guy that just loves to have his players, you know, put a smile on his players' face, you know, make them enjoy the moment and not be so serious. You know, obviously there's times where they're lock in, but also times where, like, you know, this is a game where guys that want to compete, be entertained, and also enjoy it. And so for him to install that in us was really good. And also from, you know, Jerry Stackhouse, you know, a very intense guy, just knowing that he loves to compete, doesn't like losing. That's something that he installed in us early on, and just something that he emphasized each and every day. You know, he wants us to play with force, with aggressive, and just that chip on our shoulder.
Do you have to assume that Jerry talked to Hubert before you signed with UNC?
I'm not.
Being they're both UNC guys?
Probably, but I'm not too sure yet.
Is Hubert very different than Bray and Wade? And
I believe he is. I think he's from my experience, I think he's just more passionate. I mean, I haven't seen Will Wade in action yet. I haven't played for him yet, but it just seems to me that Hubert Davis is more passionate. You know, just showing a lot of emotions on the court, even just in coaching. Like at the end of practice, like he'll be drenched in sweat, and like he won't even do nothing. You know, obviously like physically, just kind of just showing that he's just really into the game. And so that's something that I see in each and every with the coaches. And like I said about Will Wade, I think he's just very transparent, authentic, and also I think he also shows that emotion and that passion just based off his actions.
when you, Coach Wade's been talking about freeing you from three-point land, and I went back and I watched Florida at Vanderbilt, and I don't know how much you remember from that game, but you were launching them.
Yeah.
And what was it like when you think back? Like, you put up big numbers on a Florida team that then won the national title a year later.
Yeah, I mean, that is something that that is something that is really eye-opening to me, and just Will Wade as a coach, just knowing that he sees me done it before, he studied me in my game, and not just from last year, but just from the years before that, and even in high school. Like, he was able to contact my high school coach and have conversations with him, and just to know the type of player I am, just so he can get to learn more about me, and that's something that I really appreciate him for, and that's something to where he thinks that's something I can do and continue to work on, just to be able to free me up and also free up the offense.
What do you think you'll show in a Wolfpack uniform that maybe you didn't always get to show?
I think just how well-rounded I am. I think I'm, a guy that can just impact winning in so many different ways, and just be able to, whether that's playmaking, whether that's scoring the ball, whether that's on defense, I think I can do it all.
I'd like to continue off of that with showing something that you want to evolve in a Wolfpack jersey, but also Will Wade beat Clemson before he joined here. You're coming from UNC. Every game is the same, but are you kind of looking forward to some of these revenge atmospheres along the way?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it's something where I want to show people what they missed, and the real me. I think I haven't been able to match my full potential since I got, except when I went to Vanderbilt, but I believe I'm ready to do that.
And then maybe just the tenor of practice, right? Maybe the tone of your team. You guys have a lot of new pieces, chemistry-wise. I know we asked it in there, but what are you seeing that you think will bode well on the court for a team that is gelling on the fly?
Yeah, just the team chemistry and just the depth that we have. I think a lot of guys can bring a lot to the table, and not just scoring the basketball, but to be able to communicate, to be able to fly around, show some energy and effort, just be able to help and impact winning. And I think just us being connected and knowing what what's at stake and what we want to accomplish is something that we all, looking forward to sign up for.
And then lastly for me, I think we got it, but just in case we did, what's it like playing for Coach, and what made his personality intriguing for you to join?
I just think just how passionate he is and how authentic he is. I think that he's very transparent with his players and his coaches, and he tells you what you need here, in order for you to be the player that you want to become and also the man that you want to become. And that's something that you have those tough and open conversations with him, and he's going to tell you what it is, but it's all out of love. So that's something that I appreciate him for that, and that's something that really stuck out to me to play for him. Thank you.
Specifically, when you play against UNC this year, what kind of things do you think they missed in your game?
Just a guy that can do it all. I think they had some pieces to where they're really focused on those than myself, and not discredit from the guys who are really good and who deserve that. I just think that when I'm here at NC State, I believe that Coach Wade can see a lot more in me and to be able to maximize it when I can play them.
I know you touched on already, but just your experiences in this game, you can use that in a leadership role. So how do you plan to kind of be a leader this year in basketball?
Yeah, just using my maturity and my experience and just being more of a vocal leader. I think I've shown that a lot just based on my actions, but I believe my voice can also carry a lot more. And to bring guys along, just to hear from guys who've been through this, and to know what he's getting into, just to be able to share that with them, so that we're all prepared for it.
Coach Wade, it seems like he's got a lot of energy. Have you noticed that kind of, and does that kind of rub off on you guys when you're out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have a lot of guys. I think this team, this program, just shows a lot of energy. Whether it's from Coach Wade to the assistant coaches, Coach Chambers, Coach Howard, Coach Hamilton, down to the players, Quadir, Darian, Jerry, myself. Just showing that type of leadership, and just knowing that we all have a voice that matters and that carries importances, and so that's something that we all just want to bring to each and every day, whether in practice or in games, scrimmages, no matter what it is.
What do you anticipate? I'm sure you probably been asked some times. What do you anticipate that, whether it be reaction or just whatever the case that it may be, when you get the opportunity to suit up against Carolina? Obviously, it's a big rivalry within itself, and what's going to go through your mind as you take that stage?
Yeah, just to show them that what I'm able to do, what I'm capable of doing. I think that Coach will allow me to expand my game and to be able to play at my full potential and maximize it. And I think that people will be very shocked at what I can do, and something that they haven't seen me done before.
What do you anticipate that the reaction will be in terms of just preparing for that game and then finally get a chance to take the floor?
Of my reaction or their reaction? Their reaction? I think they're probably going to be shocked. I believe they're going to be shocked and probably a little disappointed, but that's how they want to react, and that's something that's what they've done. I think that's something that for me, I just want to just focus on how I want to play well and just be able to help my team win that game.
Who was maybe the player on this team that maybe you were somewhat familiar with or not very familiar with prior to coming over to NC State, that you kind of, so man, I maybe didn't know that he had this in his bag, but this dude might be a little bit better than I anticipated and thought that he was. Who was that on this team?
I think for me, I think it's Paul McNeil Jr. I think, and he didn't really have much playing time. He was pretty inconsistent, with the minutes and just the way he played last year. But I believe the things that we've seen, from the players, and just how hard he works and how well he performs each and every day in practice is something that is going to be a breakout year for him. And I'm really excited for what's going to be for him.
Last question for you. Why Will Wade? Why NC State? You made your decision on where you were going to go. Why did you make that decision?
It's the type of person he is. He's just very authentic and transparent. He keeps it real with you. He tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Especially when you have a goal into playing at the next level. He's been there at the next level. He coached there. He has the experience, so he knows what you have to do and what it takes. And so, if you really want to hear and you want to be there at that level, then you go to a guy like him.
Ven, I'm back to ask. We know you're engaged. How'd you pop the question?
I popped the question on August 9th at a resort. Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's nice. Really cool. Yeah.
Good date.
Yeah, great date. Perfect. Yeah. So it was just a really special moment, and something that I did at a dinner, and just it was very nervous but very exciting moment, and she kind of had a feeling of, you know, it was going to happen, but not know when. And so that was a really special moment. And so really excited.
How did the team respond?
Oh, they were excited. I think Darian and Jordan Snell were the first to know, because I saw them once I got back from the trip. And I actually brought them along with me. She actually brought the ring and showed them, and they were very excited. You know, they hugged me. They were just, you know, they couldn't believe it. You know, and once I saw the rest of the team, it was all excitement. They couldn't stop talking about it. And so, yeah.
Does that make you like the team dad in a way?
Oh, I hope not. Please don't. I hope not. They haven't called me dad or uncle or anything like that, so I hope that does not arise at any point.
Is anyone trending in that direction for being the team dad or uncle?
Being the team dad or uncle? Probably not. Like, we got some guys who are mature and older, but they're not there yet.
Everyone is like young at heart.
Yeah. You know, I'd say so, yeah.
This team seems like it has a lot of personality, and Darian was saying everybody has a chip on their shoulder. What is it like being on a team that's filled with so much new and so much unknown, but all of you want to prove people wrong?
Yeah, it's actually exciting of what we can do. You know, just to know that guys who have an edge and have their like a chip on their shoulder and wanted to bring it out each and every day. It's something that like you want to compete for. You want to be around those guys who are willing to do whatever it takes to win. And also guys who are, you know, want to bring out the personalities along with it, you know, to create some spark, to create some energy, you know, just to bring guys along. And I think that's something that can create an atmosphere and create a program that's going to be really successful.
Yesterday when we were speaking with the Tar Heels, I was chatting with Seth about how last year's team that you were a part of was a little bit more quiet, and it's different over there. It seems like it's different for you all at NC State. What is it like being a part of a team that's so loud and vocal on the court and full of so much energy when it comes to what's going on between the lines?
Yeah, it's very different and intense. You know, just knowing that the gym is never quiet, you know, and just knowing that it's probably going to be like that when, you know, we play in neutral sites or away games or even home games. You know, it's just something that kind of prepares us what's going to be like, but also know that we all have a voice and know that it's very important to listen to one another and make sure that that's an important key to communicate and use our voice.
You guys were on the field of 68 earlier talking about how Coach Wade is very transparent and very honest. What is maybe something off the cuff that you can share with us that's been so transparent from you that like took you by surprise? Like in practice, whether it was just to you or your team, or you're like, oh my gosh, this dude's for real.
Yeah, I mean, he has some tough comments to our teammates. I can't think of anything from me, but, you know, some tough comments to our teammates of just knowing that they're not playing hard enough, that they've been very inconsistent, and, you know, you're going to be consistent. I can't rely on you. You're not going to play, you know. Obviously, that's pretty heartbreaking to a player for hearing that from a coach. So it's like, well, dang, like now I have to snap back into it and make sure that I'm on my P's and Q's so I won't have to experience that, and to know that I want coach to rely on me.
Is there one of his like mantras or slogans that sticks out the most? Because I believe, is it Coach Chambers has a list maybe of them?
I
of
think
all of
so.
them? I think
He's
of-
very much known for having his sayings.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he shared it. I'm pretty sure he shared his saying. I can't remember it at the moment right now, but he just says a lot about, you know, you better do whatever it takes to help this program out and to put yourself in a position to, you know, be at the next level pro, or you're not gonna like what you get.
Ven-Allen, tell me about the balloons. Just have those on the sidelines. Like,
Yeah.
how much does that kind of add to, you know, the practice environment and not wanting to be one of the guys responsible for that?
Yeah, I mean, it's something to where it's like you want to value the ball. That's something that coach emphasized, especially in the last 6 minutes of the game. It's 3 keys that he emphasized: is value the ball, you know, make your free throws, and be solid on defense. So the balloon is just, you know, basically something to where it's like you create a turnover, you know, he pops the balloons, and he insisted us to, you know, be able to get at least 10 or less turnovers in practice. You know, if we get more than that, then, you know, we get punished for it. And so just hearing that balloon pop is something where like, oh, like snap, like one just went off. We got like 9 or 5, 3 more, whatever it is. So just keep us mindful of like, we got to value the ball, we got to take care of the ball. You know, we got to get the best shot or any shot, rather than creating a turnover, not getting, you know, losing a possession, and, you know, allowing the other team to get an opportunity to score. Because valuing the ball and turning the ball over can really dictate, you know, win or losing the game.
Nick, comes that guy over there, Darian Williams.
Oh, that guy over there?
Yeah, that guy.
All right,
yeah.
please tell me about
Not
him.
Malik Thomas.
Yeah.
I mean, what makes him special? Obviously, you've only been able to really see that during practices, but what makes him a special player to play with, especially when you're sharing the front court with him?
Yeah, he's a very gifted and talented player, and he's just a very outgoing personality guy. You know, I think just the way he just comes out and performs in practice, you know, he's really just, you know, testimony of how hard he works and just the type of, you know, guy who he is, and just also his personality just always has a smile on him. You know, when it's serious, you know, he gets serious, but you know, there's times where, you know, you want to laugh a little bit. You know, when guys are serious and they're stressed out, things like that, he comes to you and want to make sure you put a smile on your face and just to make sure that you're having a good time and just enjoying it. You know, and I really appreciate, you know, the type of player and, you know, guy he is, because that's something that we need in this team.
As far as I asked him in there about the analytical side of things. I mean, you get a lot of numbers thrown at you, but like, how do you balance those things? How do you balance here's the analytical side of things, but also you have to be able to execute that and be able to put it on the court. Like, how do you balance? Like, all right, this is obviously huge for us, but here's what I can do. Here's what I can actually add to it.
Yeah, it just kind of just shows like what are things that works and what are things that doesn't work. You know, some that, you know, we look at and some that coach emphasizes to us, just on the analytical side of it, just knowing that, you know, what we want out of it is something that we want to prioritize and want to look for. You know, the best shot, you know, the best, you know, possession on the offense, or the best position on the defense. Is just something that we, you know, really, you know, take pride in, and it's also something that, you know, just also shows us, you know, the measurables of what, you know, can really help us out to win the game.
I have to ask you, because Darian did say that he felt he doesn't like UNC now because of the fact that he feels like you were misused. There was another player that, you know, was on Texas Tech's team who felt like they were misusing him. I'll just ask you this: how do you feel like the proper way to use you and your skill set is, and why does NC State bring that out of you?
Yeah, it's just in a way to maximize me and put me in a position to be successful. You know, I think I can do great things when the ball is in my hands, and also just to be able to play my game. You know, just be able to, you know, bring the ball up, learn a break, or you know, attacking from the top of the key. You know, not just always setting pick and rolls, not always playing in a dunker spot where I'm hiding behind the defense, and just knowing that there's more I can give. You know, just really just something that Will Wade sees in me, something that he wants to max me out, and so that I won't be, you know, disappearing in the defense or anything like that. Like, he wants to make sure that my presence is well known in both ends of the floor.
How are you, man?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Texted Miles.
Yeah. Take some what?
I texted Miles.
Oh, you texted Miles?
Yeah, he said
what's up? Tell somebody what's up.
Hey, do you ever wear headbands?
Oh, I do it. Just today, I took a break.
Well, let me ask you a question. Apparently, you can now wear 4-inch headbands instead of just 2-inch headbands.
Really?
Yeah, apparently that's what they said. They had the official speaking to folks.
Oh,
and he
man.
said you can wear a 4-inch headband now. You may want to check on that.
I definitely will.
He wasn't pulling my leg, but that's what he said. So.
I got you. That's something I'll probably check out. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Well, look, enjoy your season. I think you'll have fun, and we'll be watching.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll be seeing you around.
Absolutely. Take care.